So Lance Honcoop here from Elenbaas is going to talk about some of the trials that he's doing on a field off of Badger and Depot. And I actually we went out in the field yesterday and took some slices from that field, so you can see a lot of the different species that he's going to talk about over there. And I encourage you to go look at the different canopies and the rooting structures of those different plants. So here's Lance.
Perfect, thanks Karina. Yeah, so we got a trial going on over at Kevin Engelsman's field on the Badger and Depot Road. And we got 11 different combinations of seeds in there. Over the years, everybody's kind of done the traditional annual rye or triticale, cereal rye, winter wheat. We've tried some different things out there, and the last couple of years we've been spreading them out in different spots in the county. The daikon radish we've been really impressed with because of the ground cover. It's got a lot of leaf on it, and they go down 2 feet 30 inches roughly. Catches a lot of the nitrogen that's actually leaching out, if there is that, and it'll actually hold that, and as it breaks down it becomes available in the spring. It also terminates quite easily, so you're not left with a lot of residual. And the feed value has been really good. We put some out last 2017. Farmer harvested it this spring. He just hit it in his bunker the other day, and he said the cows went up like crazy. So that's a good thing. That was a mix with annual rye. It's got the daikon radish in it. It's got a balanza clover, which is an annual clover, real high in feed value, fixes quite a bit of nitrogen, so you're actually getting it as a fertilizer value as well. And it's got a couple other things in it. A berseem clover and a crimson clover. So that's probably why his cows went up. He hit some real good feed in there. We've also gone and used the cereal rye with the annual rye, kind of as the past standard that we've used. The annual rye is really easy to do because we can put it in at side dress time. Grows all summer long basically, and then when you take your corn harvest off, then it actually really starts growing. It gets that sunlight. Some guys will take and put on a lower amount as side dress, and then in the fall, after they take their corn harvest off, we'll blow some more on there, and then they run a roller over it. And then that's when we add the cereal rye, because we're not really able to add the cereal rye at side dress time because the seed is so big, and we don't really want that growing then anyways. The annual just kind of chills all summer long and doesn't really grow much. So that's just a few of the practices we've been doing, and like I said, we got this trial going on, and we're going to try and do some more data on it as time goes on, come spring. And we're hoping the end of March, first part of April, we're really hoping to have a kind of a field day out there. So hopefully we can get a bunch of you guys out there and check it out and see what we've got going on. Any questions?
Estimated cost difference between the seed mixes?
So we've used a pre-mixed seed that's, we call it our soil builder, and that's got the radish and the different clovers in it. That's about $35 an acre roughly, just for seed cost. And the annual rye, we've been using about a 30-pound seeding rate on both of them, and that's roughly $25 an acre. So about $10 an acre more. Yeah, this trial was done with our no-till. We have a no-till grass seeder as well, and that's actually how we did this one. So it's easy to, we basically put the seed in, ran our passes, and so you can see the nice strips out there as well. And that was put in with our drill. We're able to drill pretty much any kind of crop in with it, along with overseeding into existing grass stands as well, so we can go in and do those also.
What's your expected yields ton-wise? Have you set any projections as to what you might be on your radish?
It's so new, we haven't really been able to come up with a whole lot on that as far as tonnage goes. Hopefully this spring we'll be able to harvest that and get some real good numbers, you know, for the next few years. And that mix actually with the radishes it's 50% annual rye. So we're gonna get still some really good tonnage out of it as well.
So what are the plot sizes?
Plot sizes are roughly an acre on that. It's real close to an acre. We ran out of room on the field. We put in a few extra ones, so those are roughly about a half an acre on like the last 3 different varieties, I believe. So you can get a good feel for it. You know, it's not like a little piece like a lawn. All right, that's all we got.
Thanks, Rick. Then when Nicole asked about ditch covering, did most of you understand what she meant, or what she was talking about? So ditch covering is a surface water ditch that we've been able to get posture on to replace with a tile. So going back in, installing a field tile and filling the ditch completely full so that we don't have surface water going directly into it. This particular project, we ran into some issues with Department of Fish and Wildlife consider this a fish stream. So we were able to actually move the entire stream along Enterprise Road and replant it. But the goal is to get it away from this lagoon, but also there's pipeline along that ditch that there was different resource concerns there. So just putting a pipe there wasn't going to be acceptable with the Fish and Wildlife. We were able to again reroute this one. But the practice for ditch covering for a field ditch is as simple as putting in a tile that's substantially or sized properly for the drainage, connecting existing tiles, connecting if there is springs or doing some extra drainage on the field, but refilling that all the way up so that the field can be utilized and you get that field acreage back, but also protects against anything coming off the field. And water control structures is another one that we're utilizing, using that control device to actually install that uses bats to back up the water. We can use it as a complete shut-off or pump-out station. This is Agri-Grain's depiction of it. This is the top of one that is, it's about a 12-inch box that goes down, and inside of it, again, there's slats that you can pull up and down, but you can incrementally add to them to make the water height what you'd like to see in your field. Again, that one is cost shared as a protection against if we have installed tile, or if you have tile in your field and there's a question of runoff or infiltration into that tile, by closing these down during the growing season when you're applying manure, that'll prevent anything going out. A properly installed tile actually just controls groundwater, and even with drain rock around it, the topsoil, the 12 to 18 inches of topsoil on top is what's filtering the manure out before it ever gets down to the drain tile. So when we're applying manure over those drain tiles, if there is manure getting into the drain tile, that's usually been compromised either with a subsoil or something else that needs to be fixed, because that's actually not providing the filtering capacity that we'd like to see. Any questions on covering ditches or drain tile? And waste storage is another practice that was on that list that came up. We have been installing tanks through the cost share program. They're quite expensive for storage compared to the typical manure lagoons. We're still building manure lagoons. The tank itself, though, per gallon, that about double the price of a manure lagoon, but you do reduce the volume of water that you collect, and so you're actually adding to the storage capacity by not catching as much rainwater. This particular one is it's over 3.5 million gallons, and we're usually going up against a 3.5 million gallon cap on the lagoons because of dam safety rules. But this rule, or this tank actually does not require a dam safety permit according to Washington. Any questions on manure tank? So I think that's what we've got for today.
I can actually, are there any questions about other practices that you guys are curious about? We do have a little time for questions in this session. So a lot of these things too, you heard about the cost share opportunities earlier. So what Chris showed you, or most all those are in the NRCS equip cost share. Are any of those in state?
Yes.
Yeah, and state. So there are opportunities if you're like, gosh, that'd be great. I'd love to cover that ditch in the middle of my field that I have to stay back from, and sometimes it runs, and it's such a worry and hassle, and it's not bringing me any benefit. Something like ditch covering might be a pretty positive. You might have ranked it higher if you actually were able to use it, something like that. So there are a lot of these interesting opportunities that Chris is always great about talking to.